Hello, and welcome to my unboxing video of the Last Night on Earth series of figures by McFarlane. Now, it's a brand I have not opened on the channel before because McFarlane hasn't really interested me that much. Even though they've got the DC license, there's just not been a whole lot of movies with the DC brand that I've really enjoyed recently, and the sculpts in those figures have been kind of so-so. However, the ones based more on the video games and the comic runs usually look pretty good. And this Batman figure from the Last Night on Earth was the one that caught my attention. And I was lucky enough to find the rest of them on sale, and I figured if I'm going to get them, I might as well. I get a really big Build-A-Figure Bane out of it, so I thought it was worth the time, and I figured I'd do a video on it. I'll try to keep the video as spoiler-free as I can, but if you haven't read The Last Night on Earth yet, maybe pause the video, go pick it up, and give it a read. So let's dive into this channel first and check out this line of McFarlane figures. And there you have it, the Batman Last Night on Earth wave of figures by McFarlane. They picked a good set of characters for this wave. All of them play pretty big important parts of the story. And the Bane figure is a pretty good pick to do for the Build-A-Figure. He's not a great Build-A-Figure though. I'll get into those flaws a little bit. Let's touch on the individual figures before I get to that. So let's start off with probably the character nobody really recognizes unless you read the story, and that's Omega. Omega is the big bad for this story arc, and his identity is a secret up until the last issue. So don't expect an alternate head to come with it. You're just going to have to read the story to find out who's beneath the mask. Now the figure itself is not bad. He's got some great articulation. As the box says, he's got 22 points. My main issue is all centered around this cape. If you look at the picture on the trading card, you can tell that it is far too short. It should be well down to here probably. And I don't know if it's just molded this way or if it's just the version I got just flares out back. It just looks kind of ridiculous and isn't comic accurate. It needed to be longer, it needed to be flat against him and not flaring up like this. So I'll probably lay him on his back for a couple of days just to get that to flatten out. Now, as far as other bad guys are concerned, in this wave we also get Scarecrow, who, through the means of a peg on his stomach that is actually kind of decently well hidden. I didn't even notice what it was until I got it out of the box. And you can just flip it out, stick him on Bane's back, and he's good to tag along. So if you don't want to just have him piggybacking on Bane's back, he also comes with this stand that actually fits around his waist pretty securely, and so you have that option. And then the figure itself is pretty good. He's got a really frightening face beneath this helmet. One of the problems with this figure, though, are its flimsy fingers. They got all kind of bent out of shape in the packaging. This hand, not so much, but its left hand, definitely, they're just crossing over on top of each other. I'm going to have to try to figure out a way to get them to sit properly. It might take a few days of them just sitting underneath, I don't know, something heavy. I'll have to toy around with it. Now on for the two heroes of the wave, and probably the best figures of it as well. We've got Batman and Wonder Woman. Now Wonder Woman also has a ton of articulation as well. She comes with a stylish new mohawk hairdo, a beautifully sculpted face, and then also this sword that's rather flimsy plastic, but then you don't have to really worry about it breaking. The only problem I have with her is her belt seems just kind of unfinished. The knife she's got on there has an unpainted handle. It's all just solid blue all the way around. There's no detailing on any of the buckles or anything. It just looks like it was half done. Otherwise, she is a pretty gorgeous figure. I really like it. My favorite figure of this wave, and the whole reason I got this wave, was this Batman figure. I think it's a pretty solid representation of what is going to be a pretty iconic comic book cover of Batman walking through the desert in a falling apart straitjacket and carrying Joker's head in a jar. He too is loaded with articulation. He's got a wide variety of movement in his arms and his legs. As far as accessories go, he comes with a billy club and also the Joker in the jar. Now, on one hand, it's a fun accessory to have, but on the other, it's not 100% comic accurate. It looks closer to like they just had a bunch of extra heads from another Joker figure that they repurposed, more than sculpting one specifically for this. There is also zero give to Batman's hand, so anytime you take this out of it, you are just scraping paint off of the handle and the inside of his hand. So that's kind of a bummer. But otherwise, I really like this figure. It looks great posed, and I'm still happy I got it. Now, on to our Build-A-Figure Bane. I really wanted to love this figure, but he was a pain to put together, and he just doesn't have that much movement to him either. Sure, his arms can move a little bit, and the elbows and stuff, but his hands just constantly just pop off with the minimum effort. And then you can't really do much with his legs either, because then they'll pop off as well. So he's a little more than a statue that's got movable arms, which is a little disappointing. He's a pretty bulky piece of plastic, so you don't feel like you got cheated out of your money, just from the size of him at least, unless you're talking about his head, who is laughably small on this gigantic body. It was a funny sight to see when I first put him together. So, there's our 4 figures and our Build-A-Figure. Are they worth getting? Maybe if you really like The Last Night on Earth, but if you weren't a huge fan of it, I'd say the Batman is probably the one that's worth getting the most. Bane is an alright Build-A-Figure, so if you don't really like the character, or you're waiting around for something better, then you could probably pass on the other three. But this Batman is really special. I really like it. So, must buy, maybes. So, that was our action figure unboxing. Coming up next time, we have the new Star Wars R2-D2. He's a big fella, and this is probably going to be another good-sized video. He sat in this box for far too long, so I'm looking forward to finally putting him together. Stay tuned for that when that happens, and until then, stay safe, happy hunting.